In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a niche website in GroovePages. And you're seeing the example right now in the background. As you can see, this is a niche website. In this case, it's for woodworking, but basically you can use this design for any kind of business by changing the background images. So let's say you want to create a website for a dentist, then you replace the background images, the colors, etc. But what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to show you how to create a page like that from scratch in GroovePages. Now, I expect that GroovePages from time to time it will change, it will improve. But what I'm going to show you is a few essential parts that you need to know when you create a website. And if you know how to implement these essential things, then it's pretty easy to create any kind of website. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this website as an example, and we're going to rebuild it in GroovePages. I'm also going to share the code of this page with you so that you can import it into your own GroovePages account. However, I highly recommend you to create it yourself or recreate it yourself so that you become familiar with building websites and building pages in GroovePages. All right, let's get started and let me show you how to get started. So when you want to create a new page in GroovePages, let me delete this one, is you simply go to the left menu and you click on the plus icon here at the top. And then you can choose from the templates here. But in this case, we're going to start with a blank canvas. So you click on blank canvas and this is what you will have. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to add elements and blocks to this page. So we always start by adding blocks to your website. So what I normally do is I start with the empty wireframe. So when I go to all blocks in here, you see all these blocks, and you can go to empty containers also. And that's what I like to do myself. So when I go to this site, I can see here this has a title and a button where we want to redirect people to another offer or whatever where we want to redirect them to. So you can do that with an empty container, or you can simply click on all blocks and you can check what is similar to what we're trying to accomplish. Now, when we look here, this is similar to what we're trying to accomplish, right? So this is a background, a text with a button. Now we see the same similar thing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drag this into our builder. And now this is what we have. Now we're going to copy the text. That's the most simple thing to do. So I'm simply going to copy this and I'm going to paste that here in this headline. So simply click on this block, going to select everything and going to paste it in here. Now we don't need this part of text in here. And as you can see, everything that is selected in green is what we're working on right now. And right here, you see that there's an element here where you can change the text, you can duplicate it. But in this case, we're going to delete this specific part. And then this is what we have. Now, this looks pretty similar, right? But we need to make it very nice, like we have here with a cool background and with the button a little bit bigger. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to select the text, the innovation text, and we're going to make it bigger. So here at the right side of the screen, when we look here, you see all these different options that you can choose from. Now, if you don't see all these options, at the top here of this menu, you have a mode which is called expert mode. Now, when we unselect this, you will see that you have less options to work with. In this case, we want to have all the options. So we're going to select this one so that we can do whatever we like to do, and always select the thing that you want to change. So in this case, we want to change the text, the font in here. So that's also what we're going to select in this menu. We want to change this font. We want to change the font size. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make this font bigger. As you can see here, this is how big we want to have it. Now you can see this does not fit the page. This does not fit in this block. So let me see how to change this. I think it has to do with the sizing of this block here at the bottom. Let me move myself because I see that I'm on top of it. Let me move myself a little bit to the left. And then here with the width, you can change that to auto. You can change that to pixels or relative to page. And now things are jumping. So that's not what we want to have, relative to parent. And when we put this on auto, let's see what we have here. So when we select the bigger block, as you can see here, we have different blocks. So this block is in this blue container. And you can also see that here at the bottom, when we select the container here at the bottom, you see that this thing becomes green. And we can also make this width a little bit bigger. So this is now 60. We can also make that 70, as you can see here. So that is how big the content is in this block. Now, right now, it's still not big enough. So we're going to the sizing of this block, and then we're going to change this to 50. As you can see, now it fits. So we had to take this specific block, not the outside. That was a mistake that I just made. But at least you learned something from it, how to make the blocks where you add your content in, how you make that bigger. And you do that by simply go to the sizing of a block and then change here the minimum width of a block. Now, right now, innovation is good. We only need to change the color because this color is white in here. So again, we go to the text in here. Here we're changing the text and we're going to make this color white. We're going to select this white. We're going to close this, and now our font is white. Now what we want to do is this background of this super huge block, we want to change that, and we want to create an image like this at the background. So what you're going to do here, to the menu, again, select what you want to change. That's basically every time the case. As you can see, now it has a specific color, but we don't want to have that color. We want to have an image. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose image, and you're going to upload your image. Now I'm going to show you how to do that because I already uploaded the images in here, but you simply click on upload image in here. That will pop up a window for you. And then you're gonna select the picture that you want to upload. So in this case, it's wood top. I'm gonna open this, and then I'm gonna select here at the left side on upload. Then it will upload the picture to the library. And once it's done, you will see it here at the right top, and then simply select here. And then it will be added to our page. Now, as you can see, this already starts looking familiar with the example page. So there are a few things that we need to change though. So a few things that I did is we need to make it bigger. Now, how do you make a block like this bigger? You can do that in different ways. You can say, okay, I want to change the spacing. I want to change the sizing of this block, the height of this block, but that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do is, and these are one of the critical things that you need to know when you're building a website, is that you need to play with margins and paddings of the different blocks that you're working with. Now, when I select this block that this text is part of and this button is part of, you can go here to the right side, and it's called spacing, this part in here. Now, this is the important part. With spacing, you have margin, that's the outside. So let's say this is the block that you're seeing in here. This is the block. And the margin is the distance outside of this block. The padding is everything that happens inside of this block. Now let me explain and let me show you this. So this block, what I want to have is I want to have more space on the outside. And in this case, that's the margin. So that's the outside one. So when I change my margin, the top and bottom, and when I select this, look what happens. My block becomes bigger. You see that? And right now it's jumping because it's still from 8, jumping from 8 to 16. So that's the biggest possible what we can do right now, because we cannot do it 9 or 10. It's jumping from 8 to 16. So we need to find out another solution. Now, you need to think a little bit creative when you creating websites. So this block is a little bit bigger. Do you see that? So what you're going to do is, in this case, we did the margin on the outside of this block. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select the bigger block, the outside block of this, and now we want to add padding. Now padding means everything on the inside needs to have a certain distance. So when we select spacing again and we select here the padding, we can make that padding bigger. Do you see that? So now we make this distance bigger here from the outside to the inside of everything that's on the inside here. And that gives us the possibility to create this block the same size as that we have here. So now it looks pretty much the same. Now, when we look at this picture, you see that there is kind of a little bit of layer. It's softened the image. This image is pretty hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this outside block again of the image, because here the background, remember, this is the image. What we're going to do is we're going to add a color on top of this image, and we're going to fade out that color. Now, when you are working in Chrome, that's also what I recommend you to do, work in Chrome, you can install a tool here, which is called a color picker. So when you go to Google and you do color picker, Chrome, when you Google this, you will see, I think it's one of those, color picker eyedropper. Let's see if this is the one. No, this is not the one, but make sure you simply go to the Chrome Web Store and type color picker. And then simply add the one that you like. There are many color pickers, I think. You can simply try them. I'm not sure how mine color picker is called, but just get the idea. Get a color picker on your Google Chrome. And then what you're going to do is with this color picker here, pick a color from the page. So let's say this is the color that I want to have on top of it. Now I'm going to click, and this color is copied to my clipboard. And then I'm going to select the color here on the page. Now you see it's jumping. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this block here. Here you can change the colors yourself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this specific color in here. I'm going to get rid of this one and I'm going to say OK. Now, as you can see, the color changed. Let me close this and close this. As you can see, the color changed, but now our background is removed. So what you're going to do, you're going to select the color again, and here you can change the transparency of this color. And as you can see here, you see this is the normal photo, but when you do a little bit of color on top of it, it makes it really nice, a smooth picture, and the fonts can be read a little bit better than when you have a hard picture like this. So the more you change it, fade it, the better you can read it. So I like to make these pictures a bit smooth like this. Now then what we need to do is we need to change this button. We need to make it a little bit bigger and to give it another color. So let's say learn more, we want to have that. So what you're going to do is you're going to select this button and you go to configure, and here you're going to type learn more. And you can decide where you want to redirect this button to. So you can redirect this to a page, to a blog, to a URL, or to a pop-up. So in this case, we're going to do a URL, https google.com. This is just for the example. Now, what I want to mention, and always click on update here. What I want to mention is that when you preview your page, so let's save our page here. When you're going to preview your page, remember, right now, maybe they change this, that these buttons are not working. When I click this, it's not going to Google. But when you really publish your page, your buttons are working. So keep that in mind, not thinking, hey, my buttons are not working. Your buttons are working fine, but you need to publish your website. This is just the preview of your website. So we're going to close this and we're going to change this button. So we're going to select the button again. And sometimes when this menu does not pop up, simply click out of the button, click the button again, and then you can change this. Now we want to change the background to black. And what we want to do is we want to have this button a little bit bigger, as you can see in here. So what we simply do is we make the font a little bit bigger of this button. So we're going to do it this way. And then also we want to have round corners, so that's also in the same menu. So when you go to borders here, you can drag this and look what happens. Boom, you got a nice smooth round border, and I like it the way it is here. Here it's a little bit different, as you can see, but actually I like this button better than the example website. Now then we're almost finished with the upper part of the website, except for one thing. What I really like about this page is that the background is standing still and the text is moving on top of it, and that's called the parallax effect. And you can simply activate that by selecting your background here and then go to your background, and there's a little button here. Let me zoom in, which is called parallax. When you select that button, your image will stand still and your text will move on top of it. So let's save our page again. Now, unfortunately, I cannot show you how it works because we cannot scroll because we have no more elements below this top part. But the top part is done now. So what we need to add is the second part. So what we're going to do is we go to our blocks again. We go to our wireframes, click on all blocks, and then simply see if you can find something similar to what we're trying to accomplish. So there are a lot of examples in here. So this one looks pretty much the same here with 3 blocks of content. As you can see here, these 3 blocks of content, and we're going to add the images, etc. We're going to add that ourselves. Let me drag this in here, and as you can see where it becomes blue, that's where you're going to place this block. This is actually not the one that I want. This is the wrong one, so let me select another one. All blocks. Let me see if there's one with the icons already done. Let me zoom in so that you also can see this. So we want to have a block like this. I think this is the good one. Let me see. There are simply 3 images on top. We're going to use this one. So let me drag and drop that in here. And as you can see, it's at the top, it's blue. Now it's at the bottom blue. I'm going to drag and drop. As you can see right now, we got those 3 blocks in here. And that's nice. That's what we want to work with. So what we're going to do is we're first going to create one block, and then we can duplicate that block to the other blocks. So what we see in here is that we have an icon on top. So that's what we're going to do first. Now, in this case, you need to add elements to your page. So these big ones that we dragged into our website, these are called blocks. In this case, we want to add an element to our page. And when we scroll down, let me see where that is. We need to find the icon. Let me see where that is. I think I missed this. Here it is, icon. Simply drag and drop this on top of this container here. So do you see that? Right now, the icon is in the container. As you can see, the parallax is already working. Do you see that? So this is not how it used to be because we need to center this image. Now, right now, this is a little bit complicated and they're working on a fix. So again, if you see this video later, probably it will be easier. I'm going to explain you how you can center these 3 things. So what you need to do is you need to select the block that all these items are in. So in this case, I only selected my icon. So I'm moving back here at the bottom to the container. As you can see right now, I selected this container where the text is in, the headline, and my icon. And then we go to our layout in here. And this is where we need to change things. We need to put this to vertical. We need to select these 2 elements, and as you can see here, and you need to play with this. Simply click on horizontal, vertical, just play with these icons. But if you want to center these one, simply do it on vertical, select these 2, and then it will be outlined vertical. Then what we need to do is we need to change our icon. So you select an icon, you go to configure here at the right top, and we need to select the good icon that we want to use. So in this case, we had a crown. I'm not going to spend too much time by finding the correct icons because as you can see, there are a lot of icons in here that we can choose from. I don't think it really matters for this example. So I'm going to take this feather as an example so that you can see here that it changed. Don't forget to update this icon in here. You can also change the size of this icon, as you can see here, 4XL. You can also make this 6XL, update, and then the icon should be bigger. It's not going bigger, so what we're going to do is we go to the design of this icon here. We go to the text, to the font, and we're gonna make this bigger. We're gonna put this to 4.5 points. Now, what you will notice here is that this text is a little bit smaller. We're going to copy this. This is lorem ipsum. We're going to say that also in here. Call this lorem ipsum. And we're going to make this font a little bit smaller like this. And then again, we need to have more space here from the top of this icon to the lorem ipsum text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this feather and I want to have space on the outside, right? Remember, we have selected this block. I want to have space on the outside. So that's the margin. So we go to the spacing again. We want to have a margin at the bottom here, and we're going to make this bigger. You see that? Now it becomes bigger because we want to have more space here between the text and the title. Between the image and the title here. So we're going to make a little bit more, and we can do the same thing for the title here. We can give that a little bit more margin at the bottom towards the text that we have on our page. So here, let me simply copy and paste this lorem ipsum also. Oh, there's already lorem ipsum in here, but this looks pretty good, right? If you compare this with this, it looks pretty good. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to duplicate this. So we're going to duplicate this icon and we're going to move this to the second one. And again, duplicate. So let me zoom in. This is to duplicate. So when I click on this, you will see that it's duplicated. And what we're going to do is we're going to also drag this to the right one here. Boom. Then let me also duplicate this one because we already created the font and the font size. So we're going to paste that in here, and also the padding, everything we already created the padding, so everything is fine. So we simply duplicate everything in here, and we're going to drag and drop it in here, and then we're going to delete the other parts that were existing on that page. So also delete this old headline, and then as you can see, we have a second block. We only need to outline this block. So again, we're going to select the block. So now I have selected lorem ipsum. We go to our container again. We go to our layout, vertical, select those two, and boom, it's in the center. Now we're going to do exactly the same thing for the third one. Copy and paste the text. So let me see, what's the font size? 1.5. And here it's the same already. And this one is only a little bit bigger. So let me get rid of this one, confirm. Looks like it was bigger. Not sure if I already copied that, but now it's copied. So we're going to select this green block, go back to our container again, go to our space or layout, vertical, like this, and now we got 3 similar blocks that we can change. So this is lorem ipsum, the text. You get the idea. So the next thing what we're going to do is we want to have 2 of these blocks, and that's simple. We're simply going to select the container that contains all these 3 blocks. So again, I've selected this green one. Go to the layout here, 333. You see that? Gonna click on duplicate, and boom, there it is. Now I forgot one thing. I'm gonna undo this because I forgot one thing, and that is to make the right color of these images. So I forgot to make this white. So I'm gonna do that. The text, gonna make this white, gonna make the lorem ipsum white. So the more you do up front, if you know that, the less work it will take you to create your website. So let me also change this. Let me change this also. So we're gonna make it white because our background is going to become black, or at least very dark. So as you can see here, the icon is the text in this case, so we need to change the text color. And now we're almost done. As you can see, boom. So now it's okay. Let us first change the background. So this background, we're going to select this big block. We're going to change this background. We're going to change this to a black color here. This is very hard. You can also select it and make it a little bit not that black, like this. And then, okay. As you can see, this looks beautiful already. This is already what we created here at the top. So at this top, we have a title. First, we're going to duplicate this block. So select this block again, select the layout, the complete block that you want to duplicate. And now we have the duplicate. And again, we want to create distance between those two blocks. And this is basically the essential information that you need to understand. Padding and margin. We want to have margin outside of this block. We want to have a distance outside this block. So we go to spacing again. We're going to select the top and we're going to create a margin from the top of this block. And as you can see, this looks beautiful, but the only thing that we want to have is a title on top. Now, as you can see, this container exists out of 3 blocks. So what you need to do is you need to simply add a new element. You need to add a new column in here. Let me see if that's the right thing. No, I think that will be difficult to add a column. As you can see, it will be added here at the bottom. Let me see if I cannot move that. So let me try this again. Add a container at the top. So now I have a container here at the top. That's what you do. Simply add a empty container at the top, and then you want to add a title to the top also. So drag and drop this title into this block. As you can see here, it's black. So first what we're going to do is we're going to change this to white. We're going to make this bigger, this heading. And we're going to also put this to the center of our page. So we're going to outline this at the center. And here, an amazing presentation. We're going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in here. And again, we need to have space between this and the blocks below. So we're going to select this block with the text. We go to spacing again. And we're going to create a margin at the bottom. We want to have space at the bottom. We want to have a margin at the bottom, right? So this is how you do that. And if we want to have a bigger font, simply drag and drop, make it bigger like this. An amazing presentation. Right now, we already have this. So let us save this project and then go to the next part. Now, what I personally would do is when I created this and I want to add something like this, I simply duplicate what I created at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this top block and we're going to duplicate it. Simply hit the duplicate block. And now you'll see that we have 2 blocks in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this handle. As you can see here with the block, I cannot zoom in further than this, but you can see here that this has a drag icon, and then simply scroll down and add this at the bottom of your page. As you can see here, now we already created this. So we have innovation, and now we need to get rid of this button. So select this button, delete this button, click yes. We're going to change this to workplace. Paste that in here, workplace. And we need to make it a little bit bigger again. Well, maybe not. Maybe the size is good the way it is right now. But we want to change the background to another image. So again, we're going to select the block. We go to the background here and we're going to choose another image. So we're going to upload an image again here. So this is the middle. Select this one. Click on upload. And then it will replace the image that is here at the right side once it's uploaded. Let me select this. Loading the image. Yes, this is the one. Select this one. As you can see right now, the image has changed. Now, when we look again to this background, it's more clean. It's faded. It's smooth. Do you see that? This is too hard again. So we're going to do exactly the same thing that we did at the top. We're going to select this block and we go to the background, and I'm not sure what this color yet. We need to change this color. So it's DA, let me type it in here, DABB9C. All right, so that's the code that we want to use. We want to use the same color. So what we're going to do, we're going to select this block. We go to our background again, and we're going to add a new color. So again, click on this black icon here and paste your code in here and then say okay. So now we have the same color that's on top of the top. I'm going to say okay, close this, and we're going to fade this one. And do you see that right now it gets the same color as the top one? And this way you smoothing your images. Yeah, so you can read it better what's on top of the images also. Now again, this one already has parallax, so it already stands still and the rest moves on top of it. So that's what we want to do. And then we have our next block, which is this one. So we're gonna create a new block again. So what you could do, you could copy this, but you need to delete too much. Well, let's duplicate this block. Let's see what we can make out of this if we duplicate this. So we're gonna make a complete duplication. Takes a little time to duplicate. As you can see, some things are not being copied, so that's not good. So we're gonna make this background, we're gonna make this black because somehow it's changed and now everything is fine again. So we're gonna drag and drop this to the bottom here. And we're gonna change this title. Do you have any questions? And again, if you will, or if you like to change your fonts, I mean, I just took the default font that was in this example, in this template. But of course, you can simply select here and then you can change the fonts also to the font that you like to. I'm now using the default font, but it's just to show you the example how it works. So the only thing that we need to have is this text, and we need to have these drop down blocks, right? Where we can add our text. So how do you create it? First, let's add a text element to this part in here. So we go to elements again, and this case, we simply going to select a paragraph and drag and drop that in here. Now, I forgot to do one thing because we need to add a text to a container. So we're going to drag and drop a new container in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to drag our paragraph in this container. Now, as you can see, you cannot read it. So we're going to change the font to white again. We're going to center the text. And we're going to make it a little bit bigger, the font, because it's very small right now. Let's make it like this. And then simply, let's take this small line that we have here and let's put that in here. And now, as you can see, there's too much space between the text here, the title and the text. So that is the spacing here. That's what's the margin that we can lower now. So in this case, we need to make a margin from this complete block, this bottom block from the text block. We go to spacing again, we go to the margins again, and then we're going to create more margin below this block. And then what we need to add is these 6 boxes. So how do you do that? Well, first let us delete these containers because we don't need those containers. So let me get rid of this. Yes. And let's select the container. Yes. And we need to add a new container in here, which consists out of 2 blocks. So we're going to open our elements and we're going to add a container here. We want to have 2 columns here. Sorry, let me delete this one. We needed to add a 2 container block. So you needed to pick this one, the 2 columns. And now we need to add these blocks in here. So as you can see, this is one block. When you scroll down, you will see here, let me see which one that is. Boom, boom. Let me see where it is. List item, solid button. Sometimes you need to search a little bit to find what you want to use in your designs. So I'm looking over it. Empty form icon. This is not what I want. Regular list item, block quote, icon heading, paragraph title. Ah, there it is. We need to add this one, the collapse. So simply drag and drop this collapse. As you can see, boom, there it is. And we need to make this the same colors as we're seeing right here. So what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to change the text. We want to make this a little bit bigger, this font on top of it. And the text on this one is good. So what we want to do is we want to create the same color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the color picker and I'm going to click here. So now my color is copied. And I'm going to select this top one, this block. And here I'm going to the background, and I'm going to say I want to have this color background. As you can see, we want to change the text to white so that we can read it. And what we want to do is, now it's very hard to see that this is a block. So what we want to do is we also want to have a border on this block. So here you see borders, and we're going to make this a, no, not this corners. We want to make this a block. So you're going to select this block here, and we want to have a width of, let's say, 2 pixels. And now when we go to our block, you can see that when we deselect it, you can see that it now has a white color, white border. The color is not white exactly, so we're going to make this white. Now the color is white. And this is our border. And we're going to add our content in here. So as you can see right now here, I made a little bit spacing in here. So again, I did some kind of margin when it's collapsed. Now, one thing that you need to know is that right now, this one is active and this one is not active. And when you click on it, you see the different colors. And you can change that by clicking on this element. And then when you hover over it or you focus on it, you can change the colors. So when you hover over it, you can say the background needs to become white, for example, and the text needs to become black. And that makes it, when you do that, that makes it, when you go over this and you click on it, that these colors will change also. Now, this is one block. You can do it different ways. So I did it that it was like this with space between. If you want to accomplish the same thing, you can select the lower block in here and you can make some spacing between those blocks. And again, this is margin because you want to have spacing outside of this, right? And this is our first block, and I think it looks pretty cool. And you can change the text. So let's see what happens here, what we did. I think it's okay the way it is right now. And it's white, it doesn't have a border. So we're doing it okay right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this block. We're going to collapse it, select this block, and then duplicate it. And now you can see it's at the bottom. So what we want to do is this has no space. So we want to have space around this. So we're going to select the whole block again, that this becomes green. And we're going to do a little bit spacing at the top, as you can see right now. So what I'm now going to do is I'm going to preview this. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to preview how my website looks like right now. So let's see if it's already saved. Yes. So as you can see right now, it's active. It's already opened, but I don't want to have it opened. I want it have closed. So what we need to do is we need to go back to this block. And then at the top, you see configure. And here you can choose if this block has to be open or closed. In this case, we want to have this closed, right? So when you start designing, you want to have it open so that you can design what you want to have, if you want to have space between this, etc. So the second one, we're going to select this one. We also want to have this closed. I'm not sure why this is still open. Should be closed. This one is closed. Then the second one is closed. Well, let's see. Yeah, there it is. So it's updated. And now when we save it and we preview it again on our page, you will notice that these blocks are closed. As you can see, the website looks pretty cool already. Innovation, learn more, amazing presentation. Here are the blocks. Workspace, do you have any questions? And then you can collapse these blocks. So the only thing that you need to do right now is simply duplicate again what you created. So duplicate it in here and just create as many blocks as you would like. So again, this has no margin. So we go back to our margin, to our spacing. We're going to give this a little bit more spacing so that it is also correctly. And how many times did we do? How many we had 3. So let's keep it to 3. Simply duplicate this and then drag and drop it to the right. Let me see if I can do that. Oh no, what we're going to do is we're going to simply duplicate the whole block. Let's see if that works. Let me see if we can duplicate this. No, we cannot move this. So we need to select each block. Let me see how this works, because there's no such thing where I can move this block right now. There's no handlebar where I can move this to the right side. So I'm not sure why I'm not able to do so. Let me say that this is open. Let me go to the collapse. Yes, now I got the container, so I can move this to the right. There it is. You see that? So now we're going to duplicate that. Going to duplicate it again. Now we have 3. One more time, duplicate. And then move it to the left. Let me move one to the left here. Container. Simply go up. So basically, you need to keep in mind that you want to switch these elements. You want to go up here in these containers if you want to select things. As you can see right now, this needs to have a little bit more spacing here at the top. As you can see, this needs to have a little bit more spacing at the top. This one. And you see that the first time that you create a website like this, it takes a little bit of time, right? So once you get the design ready, you can use it over and over again. And I'm not even sure why this is not the same right now. Why there is a spacing in here. Why this is not at the top. Layout, spacing. Let me go to collapse. Is there more spacing? Yes, here's the spacing at the top that we don't want to have, right? So now we got the containers that we want. We want to make sure that every container is closed in here. So update your containers so that every container is closed. Update them. I'm not going to do that all right now. However, these two, let me show. I hope that this is okay. So right now we have duplicated this part of our website. We can add a little bit more space at the bottom here. So what you can do here, what we want to do now is we want to select this outside block, and now we want to add more padding. You know, padding is on the inside of a block. So in this case, we want to add more padding at the bottom. So we're going to select padding bottom. Look what happens. We have more padding at the bottom here. Going to save our block, and then we're going to add our latest block in here, which is this one. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to blocks here, to wireframes, all blocks, and we go to empty blocks in here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look for a similar block like the one we have right here. So this is a block with an image, and then we have 2 half blocks at the right side. So that looks very similar to this block. So we're going to drag and drop this block here at the bottom. And now again, what we need to do is we need to add padding. In this case, we need to add padding because we want to have space on the inside. So we go to spacing, we go to padding, and we're going to create more padding on the inside here. As you can see, we want to have more padding between the top and the text. That's padding. So that's what we want to do also here. Create a little bit more padding. Boom. So we go to elements. In the elements, we scroll down till we see the Google Maps in here. Drag and drop your Google Maps in here. And then also drag and drop your titles. Let's say this is an H3. Drag and drop that in here. Same thing here, H3. Heading, and then we're going to drag our paragraph in here. Going to do that below our heading. Going to do the same thing, paragraph. We're going to put that in here. And let's see what we need more. We need an icon on top. So that's also what we're going to do. We're going to search for the icon in here. So let's see, there is the icon. Simply drag that on top of it. Drag it on top of it, of the right one. And then the only thing that we need to do is simply copy what we have in here. We need to copy our phone number. And sometimes it takes the, how do you say that? The how it's created in here. You're going to copy that exactly in here. So sometimes I paste things in my browser so it will be a normal text. So that's also what I'm doing right now. So let's paste that in here. Oh, I duplicated the block by accident. So let me delete one block in here. Yes, confirm. And I want to change the text. Paste that in here. Want to change the text of this one, of the address. Go into this text, click on text. Going to paste it in here. And then the bottom one, our email address. Change the text. Paste that in here. And then also the second part of the address in here. Paste that in here. And then the only thing that we need to do is we need to change these icons. So again, we can go to configure here and we can change the icon to a phone. So simply search for a phone icon. I'm not going to do that right now, take too many times, but let's say this is the phone icon. You simply update this icon. The same thing for the right one here. Simply go to the configure part and change this icon. Now the only thing that we need to do is we need to center this part again of these blocks because the fish is in the left right now. So we need to go to layout, go to vertical and change it to the center. The same with this block. Select the block, go to layout, vertical, select these two, and now it's centered. Now what we also want to do is we want to create a little bit of margin at the top because right now it's at the top of this address and we want to center it, right? So basically what you need to do first, we want to have this block a little bit higher. So let's see if we can do that. When we go to the sizing in here, let's see if we can make this height a little bit higher. Like this, maybe that's too high. Maybe let's take pixels. Let's make it, yeah, let's make it like this, something like this. And then we're going to select these blocks and we're going to do a little bit more padding because it's no margin, sorry. Spacing, margin, because we want to have the outside of the block. We're going to center this. Let's see where that is. Now it's still jumping from 8 to 16. Do you see that? So what we can do, again, we can first do the margin, then we can do the padding on the inside of the fish. So we can make it to the center of this image. And the same thing we can do for this block. We first change the spacing, the outside, the margin in here. Let's make it like this. And then we take the padding. So we move it to the same. And right now it's good, but we need to change the background because that's what we like. We change this background in here to another image. So we're going to choose our image. I'm not going to upload the image again because you already saw what I did. So I'm going to take the uploaded image that I already have in here. And there you got it. And then we need to change the color on top of it again, remember? So let's see if I can do that by hand. A little bit similar. So let's say we want to have a little bit like this color. It was something like this. And then we're going to fade it out. You see that? So at the bottom, we also want to have some more padding of this block. So we're also going to give that a little bit more padding. So let us close these ones. Background, go to spacing. You want to have a little bit more padding at the bottom. Also like this. So this looks a lot better now, as you can see. We need to change this to the color white, and I'm not going to show you because you know how to do that. Simply select it, and again with icons you need to go to the text layer and then simply go to text and then change this to white. So you can see that this changes to white. You can make the fonts a little bit bigger. And don't forget with the background, we forgot to do that. When you select this block, don't forget the background to do the parallax effect also. Now I see that we forgot one thing, and that's that we didn't add a title to this block. And we can simply do that by going to the elements and then simply drag and drop a column in here. Sorry, I do that wrong. Oh, let me undo this. First, you need to add a container on top of it here. And then you need to add a title on top of it in this container. And again, select this container. If the menu doesn't pop up, simply select to reselect the container again. Center this text, make the size bigger, as you can see in here. Change the color of this title. And then again, go to your spacing and go to your margin on the outside where we want to change this. So here it's contact us. And then you can also add a subline simply by going to elements, simply going to the paragraph, drag this to the bottom. So now you can see there's too much margin. So we go back to contact us. We go to change the spacing to the margin. We go back. We change the text in here. So we're going to copy this from here. Going to put that in here. Change that to the center. Make that white. Make this bigger. And then we're going to do the spacing here with the margin at the bottom. As you can see here, it looks beautiful right now. So this is exactly what this is. As you can see, there's a little bit different color on top of it. This is a little bit too white in the background. So we need to change this color. This should a little bit more to yellow like this, I think. And then make it a little bit more like this. You need to play with this, what looks good. And this needs to be a little bit bigger, but let's save our project and then we're done. Let's preview our product. Now it's saved. Let us reload this page. As you can see here, we just made a copy of an existing website, workplace, looks beautiful. Do you have any questions? These blocks, we can collapse these blocks. As you can see in here, we can use them. Not sure why these are not collapsing, so we need to take a look at these ones. These are not working. Do you see that? So we need to give that attention. Not going to do that right now. You can do that yourself. But as you can see, it looks beautiful. Now here there's some spacing issues, so we need to look at that. But I think you get the point on how to recreate a website like this. And again, if you have things like this, sometimes it helps by simply dragging and dropping things again into a container like this. If you're having issues like this, simply delete some parts and then re-add them to a block. So that's basically how you create a professional niche website with GroovePages. I will add the code of the finished website in the description below so that you can import it. Now, right now, there is no option in GroovePages to import a page directly. So what you can do is simply create a new page here at the plus, then simply drag and drop one block in it, and then click on this code here at the top. Then you get all this code. Simply select all this by Control A or on the Mac, Command A, and then Control C or on the Mac, Command C, and then if you have a new browser, so let's say you drag and drop a new block in here, simply select your container and then paste my code into your container here, like I just did. I did it twice, so let's do it again. And then you simply click on save, and then it will be added to your website, to your GroovePages account, and you have the exact same website as you're seeing right here. And this is how you create a professional website with GroovePages.